I wanted to share a video and have you react to it because I know this is a video that you commented on. If we could just show this video of Chris Matthews talking about the debt ceiling on Morning Joe. Trigger warning, everyone.
It turned out that in the end, and I have problems with the left, but they came aboard and they said, we're going to work with the middle. And that the Democratic Party, which is always accused of being, divided, Democrats divided as usual or something useful, canard, they worked together.
Hakeem Jeffries played.
And the star, another one. Exactly.
Jeffries came.
And he was the one that Nancy Pelosi wanted. I'm sure Clyburn goes along with him. He was the leader of the blacks. He's a young guy. He was a very, very attractive, an alternative to AOC. But you notice the squad really didn't cause a lot of trouble this time. The left, if you will, the progressive, 101 members of that caucus.
Yeah, Al Sharpton, yeah.
I just noticed that they got only 46 against the bill. So, in other words, most of the progressives went with Biden, which is very interesting.
Let me tell you something. It goes counter to the caricature, Chris and Rev and everybody else, the caricature of the progressive caucus and the Democratic Party. They're supposed to be Marxist, extremist, this, that, the other. You look at, and it's, as you know very well, it's not always been this way with the progressive caucus. You look at the extreme discipline. You want to talk about extreme. They have disciplined themselves. They've stood shoulder to shoulder with a moderate president they don't agree with on a lot of things. They have been there for the big votes when Nancy Pelosi needed them for the big votes. They were there last night. Some of them, I completely respect them, say we can't vote for this, but we're there. We had Roe on yesterday who said, I'm not going to vote for it, but I understand Joe Biden did the best that anybody could have possibly done.
I mean, there's so much wrong with that clip. First of all, let's just look at the optics. Chris Matthews is sitting in front of a picture of John Lewis, lauding John Lewis, who worked with Martin Luther King, who was leading the Poor People's Campaign. Chris Matthews is sitting in front of a picture of John Lewis saying it's really great that lots of progressive members of the Congress voted to make it harder for poor people to get food stamps, right? Like this is what MSNBC is selling to liberals as a victory. And as the progressives are the heroes for going along with this. I mean, I just don't know I don't know what to say anymore. Like, what is there to say? I mean, we are completely through the looking glass at this point. We are just absolutely in the upside down world now. And if you're watching that and that's your frame of reference, then you're essentially being politically lobotomized. If you are a liberal and you are watching that and you are nodding along with millionaires on television and with Al Sharpton, who's supposed to also, be a voice for the poor. That's how he portrays himself. Cheering this on. I mean, there aren't words to describe that spectacle. That's the garbage fire we now live in.
I don't know which is more depressing, the Democrats or the media's covering for them.
Well, look, I mean, first of all, you're looking at corporate. I mean, everybody on that television screen is a multimillionaire.
Yeah.
So this bill is a big win for them, for that class of people. It's a big win for them. They don't have to pay more taxes now. They don't, I mean, this is a big win for them. Secondly, I mean, I think on top of the ideology behind the framing of it, corporate media frames everything as a sporting event. There's a win and there's a loss. And anything that protects the status quo is considered a big win. So I just think it's sort of the ESPN sports centerization of politics. That's also what this is. But this is going to have real consequences. And I think what I used to be I'm certainly upset about it, but what I used to be sort of nauseated by, and now I've become sort of numb to, is that This is what liberals are cheering on. This is what liberals, people who vote for the Democratic Party and cheer on the Democratic Party, this is what they want. And if it's not what they want, this is what they're willing to accept, while a boot continues to kick the face of the working class. And again, look, there are elections in which I voted for Democrats. In a two-party system, I don't think how you vote defines your political identity in a system as undemocratic as this one. But I guess what I'm saying is there's millions and millions of people who aren't just begrudgingly voting for this because the Democrats are in some ways less dangerous than the Republicans. There are people who are enthusiastically voting for this. Some of them don't know that this is going on because the media doesn't explain it. But I think some of them know exactly what's going on and don't care. That politics is a culture war, not an economic class war to them. And so the economic class war, which this bill embodies, doesn't bother them.
And you can imagine the media, the corporate media, doing a report on what it's like to be on food stamps and now have to have a work requirement or something.
Yeah, I mean, you'll almost never see that story anywhere. And I mean, right? I mean, you just won't. And again, like the news that the federal government says that we have record amounts of CO2 in the atmosphere was like barely news. It was like you have to like dig for it to find out. Meanwhile, we're approving a giant pipeline. I mean, also it's worth saying, this party is the party that screams at you to, quote, believe science.
Right.
So like believe science, but let's like expedite and protect from court challenge a massive fossil fuel pipeline.